September, September 7th, 2024. Hope everyone's having a good day so far. It's 5 o'clock here um, in the morning. And we're going to continue reading from A Course in Miracles in just a moment or two. So, what I've been doing is um, keeping the readings spontaneous, not planning anything in advance. Um, what do I most need? Here's the wonderful thing about A Course in Miracles. We are all teachers. As soon as you pick up the course, you become a teacher of the Course in Miracles. But we teach what we most need to learn, and we learn what we most need to teach. So that puts us all in the driver's seat instantly. Saying hi to my cat. Um, so for me, even though I am working through the textbook, or I'm sorry, the workbook, lesson at a time, as was originally intended, I'm going through, and this is after 30 years of practice picking it up. I just felt called to begin at the beginning. Always a good place to start, and work from there again. But with the text, I'm trying to do an intuitive approach, which is a great way of approaching any spiritual text. I love the Bhagavad Gita, and I try to do a thorough reading from the beginning to the end, at least once a year. Same with the Tao Te Ching, same with the Upanishads, and some other books as well. However, um, after that, any, let's call it a holy text or a spiritual book that has meaning to you, that calls to you, you can open up anywhere. Here's Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, another, there were the Sutras of Patanjali, the Yoga Sutras. I'll get it right. Another extremely important book in my life, just randomly, wherever. And you can do this before you go to bed. And my eyes come right to um, chapter 4, verse 28. Their succession is that of the obstacles that we previously described, that is, destroying them through meditative absorption. That means our thoughts are seen through meditative absorption, that we are absorbed in the process of meditation, and we no longer cease to give power to every single thought. Why did they name you Eric? You'd have to ask my parents, both of whom are deceased. I never asked them. They might not have had a reason, you know? Maybe they liked the way it sounded. Let's see. A says, do you like Star Wars? I do like Star Wars. I like I'm not a fanatic. After the first 3 movies, I never saw any need to go back and watch the others. Man, I saw the original in the movie theater. I still remember the theater, Columbia, Maryland, and how exciting it was. We all knew from the very beginning that it was something huge, culturally significant, that movies would never be the same after Star Wars. Let's see. UTR, is that right? I'm squinting at the phone, I apologize. Says, you remind me of that guy from Mythbusters and The Simpsons. Don't know who that is. You ever seen Mythbusters? I love The Simpsons. So, which one in The Simpsons? I hope you're not going to say Homer. But if you do, that's okay. So, anyway, that's what I've been doing with the Course in Miracles right now. Intuitively. What speaks to me? Let's see. I don't know. The beard reminds me of Homer, I think. Interesting. Of course, Homer's overweight. But hey, other than that, still my favorite character in The Simpsons. And I absolutely love The Simpsons. Could be worse. You could say I remind you of Peter Griffith in The Family Guy. So, this is from the text, Course in Miracles. It's called The Extension of the Kingdom. I'm only going to read the first paragraph, maybe skim through the rest, and talk about it. Don't get caught up in the language of the Course. It's very Christian in term, almost esoteric, almost Shakespearean in the language used. But Course in Miracles actually has more in common with Buddhism than it does with Christianity, which is odd because Course in Miracles is, if you believe that it came from the source the scribe said it did, is the voice of Jesus giving us a correction of belief. But you don't need to believe that to get benefit. You don't need to believe in God to get benefit. You don't need to believe that Jesus was the Son of God to get benefit from Christianity. If you were to read only the Sermon on the Mount and apply your life to that, imagine how different you'd be. Imagine if you applied the actual words of Jesus to your life and said, I'm going to live this way. How different your life would be. Imagine if you followed the full course of Buddhism, the Eightfold Path. Imagine if you followed the 8 limbs of yoga to its full extent. Where would you be? The thing is, we love the concept of beliefs, but we don't like to put it in practice because that means it would diminish the effect of ego on our lives. And no one wants that. No ego wants that. Let's see. Give me a second. I'm going to dive into the chat and then I'm going to go and I'm going to read the passage from A Course in Miracles. Hey, Skits, how are you? Let's see. Nick says Trump 2024. Well, good luck. Make sure you vote, however it goes. Whoever wins, I've removed myself from political discord one way or the other. Whoever wins will be my president. I hope they lead the country with strength, with pureness of heart, and absolute love for all. Whomever wins. Skit says, hi chat, hope you're well. Special Forces says, religion is the root of evil. I've done many horrible things because of the wars of religion. I'm sorry about that, my friend. I would say that the misunderstanding of religion is the root of all evil. The following of religious principles without the core belief in what they offer is the root of many, many evils. Religion itself is neither good nor bad, to misquote Shakespeare. Less thinking makes it so. People have used religion to put across an agenda that has absolutely nothing to do with the religion itself. I'm not religious, not even in the least, which surprises people because it seems that I talk an awful lot about religion. I don't. I talk an awful lot about love. I talk an awful lot about forgiveness. I talk an awful lot about how practicing the principles of certain spiritualities, yoga, Taoism, Buddhism, A Course in Miracles, can help us. That includes the teachings of Jesus, but it doesn't include Christianity on a whole. If you go to any church, you're going to hear a sermon that is going to be it's going to serve an agenda. The agenda of the church, the agenda of the minister or priest or reverend, the agenda of a government sometimes, the agenda of a principle, but not the agenda of Jesus. Jesus said to love others as you love themselves. How long does a sermon have to be with that principle? Any minister could stand up and look at the congregation and say, love everyone as you love yourself, and sit back down. Good day, everyone. Go home, watch football, Be kind to your neighbor. Do good things will happen to you. The law of cause and effect. All right, I've been putting it off. Remember, Course in Miracles is steeped in what seems like religious language. It is just language. Skip past it. Go to the essence. The extension of the kingdom. Only you, this is for skits, by the way, only you can limit your creative power, but God wills to release it. He no more wills you to deprive yourself of your creations than he wills you to deprive himself of his. Do not withhold your gifts to the sonship, or you withhold yourself from God. Selfishness is of the ego, but self-fullness is of spirit, because that is how God created it. The Holy Spirit is in the part of your mind that lies between ego and the spirit, mediating between them, always in favor of spirit. To the ego, this is partially, and it responds as if it were being sided against. To spirit, this is truth, because it knows its fullness and cannot conceive of any part from which it is excluded. So the reason why I said this is for skits is only we can limit our creative power, but God wills us to release it. So, man, I keep going back to the beautiful excerpt, the introduction to Skits' song, his music. That wasn't from ego. That was fully from spirit, because it was so beautiful. That's why it says here that God no more wills you to deprive yourself of your creations than he wills to deprive himself of his. It means you're on point. Dharma, you found your purpose. You're putting out beauty in the world, and people will respond in kind. When people fill themselves with beauty, they have nothing but beauty to give away. When they fill themselves with love, and love is beauty, and beauty is love, they have nothing but love to give away. Do not withhold your gifts to the sonship, where you withhold yourself from God. If you don't give away what you are, truly what you are, if you don't give away love, you are withholding yourself from God. Replace the word God with the Tao, if you don't like the word. Replace the word God with love. Replace the word God with the universe. Doesn't matter. Skip the word entirely. If you withhold your gifts from the world, you're withholding your gifts from yourself. Selfishness is of the ego, but self-fullness, the fullness of self, because there's only one self, and that is the self of this. I can only gesture. Remember, the Tao Te Ching begins with the Tao that can be told is not the true Tao. The God that can be scribed, it's not really God. This is why in neuro-linguistic programming, they say that the map is not the territory, the menu is not the meal. Don't look at a menu and read the description and see a photo of a hamburger and say, man, I'm full. I've just read the menu. I can't have a bite more. You haven't eaten anything. The meal is not the menu. The map is not the territory. The God that can be described is not God. It's just words. So this is why they say the Holy Spirit is the part of the mind that lies between the ego and spirit. Again, don't get caught up in the language of Christianity where they talk about the Trinity. The Holy Spirit is just the intermediary that we have to turn to, that always steers us in the right direction. I love this passage. I've been studying it all morning long. Let's see. Skid says, thanks, brother. These words are invaluable to me. Brother Eric, my friend, how are you? It's good to see you too. Anne's Crap Chat says, good morning, Yogi. And good morning, everyone. Guys, I hope you get a chance to hang out. I hope this is going to sound weird. I hope you get a chance to hang out in the crap chat. Everyone should visit the crap chat. You know why? That's where you find Anne. And Anne is good people. Anne's my friend. Always. Stand by my friends. And you know what? I don't exclude anyone from the friendship. Anne says, thank you, Yogi. You're welcome, my friend. Someday I will join you on the live stream. So, yeah, skits. That's important. That was so important to me. Um, and it felt very intuitive. A friend of mine replied on Facebook to the post where I put your music. Hey, Anne, if you click on Skits, his channel, he has an uh, introduction to one of his new songs, and it's awesome. So a friend of mine replied when I shared it that not his particular music, but that it was very, said not my type of song, but well made for sure. My friend Giga, who we know here in the community, she's Bessalina, by the way, Bessalina, gave it a heart. She absolutely loved it and says she'll check it out. You know what? This applies to Anne as well, because Anne is, so I'm going to read through it again. Remember, dismiss the words that don't resonate with you. If the term God doesn't resonate, I can't say it actually does for me. I'd rather say the Tao. I'd rather say Buddha consciousness. I'd rather say love, Krishna consciousness. You have a strong relationship with Krishna. So use the term that works for you. But the reason I'm going to say it's very relatable to Anne as well is because Anne is a craftsperson, craftswoman, crafter, crafting person. So anyone who is creating, anyone who is putting their essence, their love into the work that they're doing, this applies to. Only you can limit your creative power, but God wills to release it. Let's read that again, but I'm going to get rid of the word God. We don't need to, though. Only you can limit your creative power, but love wills to release it. Love wills to release it. So when Anne is doing her crafts, that is love speaking through her, into her hands, into the object of her creation, and she gets to hold it up and say, look what love made. In the best, when I write something at its very best, I have very little to do with it. If I write from ego, it sucks every time. And I know it. And I look at it and think, man, I was limiting myself because I was trying to be clever. The great Persian Sufi poet Rumi urges us to sell our cleverness for bewilderment. And I love that term, bewilderment. I want to be bewildered. And you can tell, you can look at me and think, that is one bewildered person. There's no one more bewildered than a bald guy in glasses looking at a phone at 5 o'clock in the morning and talking about weird stuff. That is bewildered as you can get. Anne says, I wish I had your patience, my friend. You know, there's a line in the Course of Miracles. I think I've used this before. Infinite patience produces immediate results. Infinite patience produces immediate benefits. I say that to Mocha every time she wants me to do something. Every time we're going to be late for something, every time she's like, hurry up and do this. And I look at her and say, infinite patience produces immediate results because I know it's going to annoy the F out of her. Which goes to show you that, man, I don't always practice what I preach. Goes to show you, I can be a bit of an asshole sometimes. Let's see. Skid says, I don't know if invaluable is the right word. I just mean that you are the most value, that they are the most value if it is incomprehensible. Oh, thanks for the words. They are invaluable to me. I understand what you're saying. Crafter. Okay, I like that term, crafter. You know what? Because craft, you can only craft with love. You can assemble something. Anyone can assemble something, with the exception of me. I can't follow directions to save my life. But only love can craft. A crafter is steeped in love. You can see it in their hands. You can see the sureness and deftness of someone who loves what they're doing. When I can craft my writing, I cannot craft anything really like with my hands. Well, maybe, but it looks like crap. Um, you guys ever read Zen in the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance? There's a paragraph that has stuck with me forever. I first read it 1980 something. And he talks about the author, Robert Pirsig, was a technical writer where he wrote, directions, how to do something. And he talked about, and he was a technical writer in Japan as well as the United States. And he talked about the difference that in the United States, when you're a technical writer, when you write directions for assembling your toaster oven, I think he might have used a bicycle. I always use a toaster oven. Assembling your toaster oven. First lay out all the parts, then take part A and insert it in part B, holding part C in its completion, and arrange it around part D, and on and on and on and on it goes. In Japan at the time, this was in the 1950s, technical writing would be, before assembling your toaster oven, you must first achieve peace of mind. See the difference? Before assembling your toaster oven, take a breath. Calm down. It'll get done. You'll be okay. Imagine when we're about to craft something, if we say, before I craft, may it be an extension of my heart. May it be an extension of love. Before I write this song, may it serve a higher purpose than my ego. And then we have infinite patience. Infinite patience produces immediate results because it's the practice of patience. The results doesn't mean what we want gets here any sooner. It means that we have the effects of patience. The effects of patience is being calm. It's a slower heart rate. It's reduced blood pressure. It's being kinder. So, infinite patience produces immediate benefits. Does not mean we get what we want any sooner, but it means the essence of patience is already ours right now. And says, when I'm doing crafting, that will always be in the title. Crafting with cut or resin or whatever, but crafting will be in the title. Hey, I don't mind visiting you for, I love the crafting. I don't mind visiting you for whatever you're doing. When I say that I practice non-judgment, that's across the board. That means that I'm there for the friend, regardless. I did see someone in your chat say, I don't see how you cannot judge someone who does horrible stuff. And that's because you're viewing the effects and not the cause. I don't know the cause, so how can I judge the cause? I don't know all the stuff that's gone on in someone's life, why they are here doing what they're doing. So I don't ignore it, but I look deeper. And when you can just do that a little bit, it brings you a sense of calm, it brings you a sense of peace, it brings you a sense of love. When I visit Anne, I'm visiting Anne, nothing else. I'm visiting a friend. When you visit a friend, you don't sit down on their couch and say, why are you watching this on TV? This is my least favorite show. You sit down, you hang out with a friend. Skid says, okay, Anne, if I see crafting the title, I will be sure to pop along. I have a box full of craft stuff here in my apartment. Nice. Skid says, have you ever been to Japan? I have not, but I've been to Canada. And some people call Canada the Japan of North America. All right. No one ever calls Canada Japan of North America, but that's the best I got at 5 o'clock in the morning. I have studied. I'm no expert. I've studied Zen. I am far from an expert. By studying Zen, it means I have sat in Zen meditation, Zazen, and I've read some of the Zen classics. I have talked to serious Zen practitioners. I am not a serious Zen practitioner. I'm just a yogi. I purposely picked that title, just a yogi. So if someone came in and said, and someone did not long ago, and said, are you enlightened? Which to me is, there are no ridiculous questions, but that was a ridiculous question. I'm just a yogi. I'm just a guy who practices and hopes for a better life. And you know what? My better life is within the practice, not the end result. That's the secret to forgiveness. The forgiveness isn't in the end result. It's in the action of forgiving itself. Because when I do it, I'm at peace. And sometimes I need to keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it, which is okay. It's the practice itself that brings me peace. I believe it was Suzuki Roshi, the Zen master, when he was asked, what is enlightenment? And he said, practicing enlightenment. This is why the great saint, Catherine of Siena, said, all the way to heaven is heaven. All the way to heaven is heaven. I love that. It means that each step towards heaven is heaven itself. It's no ultimate destination. There's no ultimate destination in forgiving. We don't look at it and say, I'm glad that's done. You're forgiven. Go back out there and do more bad stuff. It's the practice itself that brings us peace. But it's the ego that rebels against that. The ego always says, but I want to be there. But this is why Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is within. It's right here. He gave us explicit directions. And what did we do? We all went, where? I don't see it, because we're looking out there. That was me, by the way, looking out there, in case anyone missed that point. And going back to Zen, there's a story of the Zen master pointing at the moon of enlightenment, and the beginner, the student, looks at the finger and says, the moon of enlightenment looks like a finger. Because they're not looking at the moon, they're looking at the pointing. If we say the kingdom of heaven is within, and then we keep looking for all these outer reasons to be awakened, to be enlightened, to be loving, to be in the kingdom of heaven, we're missing the point entirely. So, man, I absolutely love 5 a.m. live streams. Even though, at the very beginning, I was told I looked like Homer Simpson. That's no great way to start the day. There's worse ways to start the day. Let's see. Sabine says, good morning, Yogi Eric. Good morning, my friend Sabine. How are you? He says, good morning, everyone in the chat. We have a bright smile and a loving heart from our friend Sabine, all the way in Switzerland. Now that's a great way to start the day. I get to sit in my little office. I get to talk with my friend Sabine. I get to talk with my friend Anne. I get to talk with my friend Skitz. Brother Eric is up above. My friend Nick says Trump 24. And as I mentioned to him, I've done my best to step out of the realms of politics. Doesn't mean that I don't have political leanings, of course. Whoever wins the election is going to be the winner of the election. And may that winner be guided by the hand and heart of love for the benefit of everyone. That's all I got to say about politics. Sabine says, just stopping by, sending some love and light to you all. Sabine, thank you for that. Imagine if we all did that. Imagine if that was the only thing we did on YouTube. Sending love and light to all. I try, do my best. I get caught up in my own stuff as much as anyone does. Fortunately, I have one of my cats who sits up here in the office all the time and looks at me and reminds me, Eric, don't be an asshole. Which is funny though, because I'm of the belief no matter how loving a cat is, every cat is pretty much a little bit of an asshole. Let's get say hi to Bax and Optimop for me. Absolutely. Night Watcher's here. Night Watcher, my friend, how are you? So he says, we stay here and send love and light to even the evils. Love and light. That's how we do it, Sabine. Thank you for that. Night Watcher says, another great new live. Thank you, Night Watcher. Night Watcher gives me the reminder that it's time for me to be quiet, quit talking, head outside, and take a walk. Be in nature. If everyone took a walk, or even just sat quietly in nature for 20 minutes every morning, the entirety of the day would be better. No matter what happens, the entirety of the day would be better. This isn't just my opinion. This is the proof of science. When you're in nature, your eyes respond to the fractal patterns, to the designs of nature. And immediately, within the first 2 or 3 minutes, puts you into a light alpha wave brain status, which is the light stage of meditation, which is our creative, intuitive, and inspired state. You want energy for your crafting, you want energy for your writing, you want energy for your whatever you got to do, 20 minutes in nature. If you want to turn it into more of a meditative experience, nasal breathe. Nothing more. Breathing easily. Don't try to control the breath. Breathe through the nose. Exhale through the nose. In through the nose. Whatever pace you're going at. Doesn't have to be fast. And there's a third way. You can use what's called a mantram. A mantra is different. A mantram is different than a mantra. A mantra, of course, is a word that we use to meditate upon. A mantram is a word that has a specific meaning. A mantra doesn't really have a meaning. It has a vibratory quality that we use to take us deep into meditation. But a mantram could be the word love. It could be the word hope. It could be, for me, it's Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And it is using Rama, the vibratory quality of joy, to bring into my life. For you, it could be whatever. Doesn't matter. But you enter that and you just keep going back to that word. If whatever reason, you lose train of thought. If you're thinking about trees, clouds, grasshoppers, perfect. But when you remember, you come back to the mantra. You bring joy back into your heart and you continue walking and you focus on the breath. Those three things, your life will change. Guarantee it. It's not a money back guarantee because I have no money to give back to you, but it is a guarantee. All right, guys, I'm going to head out. Night Watcher. Night Watcher says, waiting for the world to end. The world ends every single moment. Every moment is the ending of the world as well as the rebirth of the world. Someone with the name of the Night Watcher of the Rebirth should know that for sure. Right now, you're in a brand new world. What are you going to make of it? Too late. Another moment, that world just ended. Got to be quick, guys. You got to be quick. Anne says hi, Sabine. Sabine says hi to Anne. Anne, okay, take care, everyone. Oh, one thing. Sabine says, of course, we'll tell Timo and Bax your greetings. Thank you all. Big hug to all our friends here. Sabine, thank you. And yes, please give love and greetings to both Bax and Timo. And I'll see you guys. I'll be live again later. Night Watcher says bye. All right, guys. Take care. Do something nice today for yourself. That'll be the ending message. Take care.